Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome to my channel. I am Jamie Beth. Today I am so excited because we're going to be doing another story time and makeup about some of the most haunted hotels in America. And I love reading about these haunted places, these forbidden places that are scary to go to. I always find myself reading about places that are haunted. Now, I have actually stayed in one of these hotels. I've been to a couple of them, but I've stayed in one, and I'll tell you my personal experiences once we get to that hotel. The list that I have concocted here are the hotels that I thought were the most interesting. I know there are some hotels that are far more famous and some that are probably far more haunted than the ones that I might have on my list, but these are the ones that kind of were drawn to me and I want to share with you. The first one we're going to talk about is the Union Station Nashville in Nashville, Tennessee. I have been to Nashville, but I did not stay at this hotel. It is one of Nashville's most iconic landmarks. The Union Station Hotel dates back to the 1900s in a building that previously served as the city's buzzing railway station. And the photos of this hotel are actually beautiful. It has round vaulted ceilings, there's 100-year-old stained glass, there's grand towers of the former train station's main terminal. It is just gorgeous. I would actually love to stay in this hotel just because of how beautiful it is. Every so often, guests will mention or be reminded of the building's rich history through another type of encounter. And what I'm talking about is the hotel's resident ghost, Abigail. Legend has it that during World War II, a young woman by the name of Abigail said goodbye to her soldier on the Union Station train platform before he slipped off to France. When she arrived at the same spot to greet him on his return, she was instead met with the word that he was killed in action. Abigail was very distraught over this news, and she ended up throwing herself in front of another train. The spirit of Abigail can be seen walking around the main terminal looking for her lost love. Her presence is strongly felt in the room 711. The next hotel I'm going to tell you about is the Battery Carriage House in Charleston, South Carolina. This place is very, very proud of its haunted visitors, and they claim to be the most haunted inn in America. Hauntings at the inn actually date back in time to just after the Civil War. Today there are said to be numerous spirits that roam the Battery Carriage House. Guests and employees alike have reported run-ins with these spirits. The paranormal occurrences that happened in this inn have even changed the minds of the most skeptic people. Apparently there are 3 rooms in this inn that are the most haunted. The first room is room 3. One of the most infamous stories take place in this room, and it happened some time ago when a married couple had decided to stay the night in the inn. Tired from a long day, the couple went straight to bed. Unfortunately for them, a peaceful night's rest was not in the cards. The two were suddenly woken up sometime after midnight by the husband's cell phone. You're probably saying to yourself, big deal, everyone's cell phone goes off at sometime during the night, which is, true. However, his cell phone was turned completely off. They also spotted a glowing orb around their room, kind of just floating around their room. And they noticed this on the second night they stayed as well, except for the second night it seemed to be more of them. More of these little glowing orbs or shapes or things floating around their room. Then the guests sought the help of a psychic who happened to be staying in the hotel at the same time they were, and asked her if she would go check out their room to see hey, what's going on? Why is my room being so weird? When she went into the room, she did feel the presence of many spirits, and the couple had asked her to let the spirits know they were not welcome and to please leave. Following the morning, when the couple woke up, so this would be like the third night they stayed there, they found the psychic and let her know that the spirits must have actually left the room because they had a peaceful sleep. Next room we're going to talk about in this inn is room number 8. The ghost that haunts this room is one you certainly do not want to encounter, so I don't even know if you would want to really stay in this room. What is so strange about this ghost in room 8, it isn't your typical southern ghost. I guess most southern ghosts are either a lady in white, a soldier, or a child. This unusual ghost has sent people running to their cars. Will make noise to kind of wake them up, and when they wake up, they're seeing a headless torso. If anyone has ever stayed in this hotel, please let me know, especially if you've stayed in any of these rooms. Room 10 is the next room we're going to talk about in this inn. And if you are looking to see a ghost in this inn, room 10 is the one that you probably will see it most often. The ghost in room 10 is very fond of the bed and has been known to startle guests by laying peacefully on the bed. Despite his peaceful demeanor, you can't blame someone for being surprised upon discovering a ghost sleeping next to them. But if you do, know that this ghost is very nice and is not going to hurt you. The next hotel I'm going to tell you about is one I've actually stayed in multiple times. On my honeymoon, we stayed here, and on a trip with my mom and sisters, we stayed in this hotel. It is the Hawthorne Hotel in Salem, Massachusetts. No, I have mentioned that I've been to Salem because I visited one of the haunted cemeteries that I talked about in another video, the haunted cemeteries videos. As you all know, Salem, Massachusetts is well known for the Salem witch trials. And the Hawthorne Hotel is said to be a hotbed for paranormal activity. Guests report flickering lights, faucets turning on and off, and human-shaped apparitions. Rooms 612 and 325 have had reports of lights turning off and on and a general uneasy feeling. Now I'm going to tell you some of my experiences at this hotel, and the experiences really happened while I was at the hotel with my husband and we were on our honeymoon. We decided to do kind of a road trip thing for our honeymoon, and Salem was the first stop on the honeymoon. So we got our room. I don't remember what floor we were on. All I remember is we were all the way at the end of the hallway. Our room was like the last room in the hallway. Next to it was like the staircase. And we went to bed that night. And during the night, I woke up a few times. So the first time I woke up, I kept hearing this clink, clink, clink sound. I'm like, what is that? So annoying. And then it stopped. So I went back to sleep. I woke up the second time to hearing a couple fighting. Like someone was really arguing, and it sounded like it was in the room right next to us. I'm like, you've got to be kidding. It's like in the middle of the night. Why are you fighting? Go to sleep. So I kept hearing them yell, 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 and I went over to the door and looked out the peephole to see if I could see anyone yelling in the hallway, because it sounded like they were right there, either in the next room or out in the hallway. It was like I could hear them fighting. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I could hear them fighting. It was that loud. So I'm like, oh. I went back to bed. And then I woke up a third time to a woman in our room, and she was walking past our bed and walked over to the window that was kind of near the part of the bed I was sleeping on. And I saw her open the window and then kind of look at me and leave. The next morning, I'm kind of chilly, the room is really cold. I tell my husband, who had woken up already, I'm like, hey, I go, can you go shut the window? The lady who was in our room last night opened the window. I should probably add that I did get a good look at her. She looked like a housekeeper in old-fashioned clothes. And that's all I can say. She didn't look malicious. I wasn't scared one bit. She looked like a really nice lady. My husband's like, if someone was in our room, why didn't you wake me up? I'm like, she wasn't scary. And I don't know, maybe she was just being nice and it was hot on that floor and she wanted to open her window. I don't know. It didn't make sense to me either, really, as to why I was okay with this. He goes over to the window to shut the window and he goes, honey, there is no way that this window was ever open. And I'm like, what do you mean? I saw her open it. I saw her open it. And he's like, the window's nailed shut. Like, what? So I got out of bed, walked over to the window. It was nailed shut. There was no way this window was going to open to anybody. But I know, again, I know what I saw. I'm not making it up. I didn't dream it. I saw this. This was crazy. And I'm like, and then I'm like, oh geez. And you know, I kind of did chalk it off like, oh, maybe I was dreaming. I don't know. I'm telling my husband, I saw this. I know I saw it. He goes, I believe you. It's fine. You know, it's an old hotel. You know, he says he believes me, but I don't think he really did. Go into the bathroom to like brush my teeth and get cleaned up and stuff like that. And I went to put the toilet lid down. It slipped out of my hand and made a clinking noise. And I'm like, honey, come here. And I let it do it again. I'm like, I heard this stupid thing clinking all night long. I knew, I'm like, it was clinking, it was annoying, I got angry, and I went back to sleep. But I heard this clinking noise all night. And he's like, I didn't hear a thing. I'm like, of course you didn't. But that was the clinking noise. It was, I don't know if it was the lid going up and down all the time, but I did hear a clinking noise that did sound very similar to that. And then I'm like, all frustrated. I get ready. I'm all frustrated. I'm like, I'm going to tell you one more thing that was weird when I woke up. And he's like, oh geez. I go, there was a couple in the room next to us that was fighting like crazy. And I'm like, it was so annoying. And I just want to yell at these people because like they were fighting for a while. I got out of bed, I checked the little peephole to see if I could see anyone in the hallway. I didn't see anyone. I went back to bed, but they were still fighting and I could hear them just fighting. I don't know what they were fighting about, but I heard them fighting with each other. We get ready and we're leaving the room, and as we're walking back down the hall, I notice there's no rooms across from us, and next to our room is a like utility closet. And then, so you have our room, this utility closet, which is right here. And then all the way down here is the next room. So I don't even know how it was possible I heard this fighting if the next room was clearly, you know, good ways down the hall. It just still baffles me. And I'm talking to my husband about it, and he's just like, that is so weird. You sure you weren't dreaming? I'm like, no, I got up out of bed, walked over to the door and looked out the peephole because I could hear this fighting. So I don't know what that was. Can't explain it. If any of you have ever stayed in the Hawthorne Hotel and have weird experiences or anything similar to what I had, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your stories. All right, on to the next hotel. We are going to be talking about the 1886 Crescent Hotel and Spa in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Over the course of its 130-year history, the Crescent Hotel has served as a women's college and a hospital. Notoriously run by the crackpot doctor Norman Baker. It is referred to as America's most haunted hotel. In room 218, an Irish stonemason named Michael plunged to his death while the hotel was being constructed in 1880. Guests have seen hands coming out of the bathroom mirror. One night in the morgue, a tour had just been brought into the basement and they were beginning to sit in the front area. The tour guide noticed a man high-stepping into the autopsy room. Curious as to who this man was, the tour guide went into the room, looked around, even opened the meat locker where this doctor back in the day used to store his cadavers and body parts, but there was no one in this room. However, he was seen as plain as day to everybody on the tour. The next hotel we're going to talk about is the Plaza Hotel in Chicago, Illinois. This landmark hotel was not always known for being one of the scariest, most haunted hotels in America. It was a landmark of Chicago hospitality. It was originally built over 100 years ago to accommodate visitors coming from the Chicago World's Fair. The hotel didn't actually become the Congress Plaza until 1908. It was about 20 years before one of its most notable and notorious residents, gangster Al Capone, was said to have lived here. Some reports are that he owned the hotel for a while and used it for his headquarters. He never actually stayed there, at least not under the name Al Capone, so he must have used a different name. But residents claim to see him. Another less notorious but just as notable name haunting the halls of the Congress Hotel is a homeless hobo by the name of Pegleg Johnny. It was said that he was murdered there many years ago. It didn't really go into detail about that. I need to find some more detail about his murder, but this man is seen roaming the halls, as well as a workman who supposedly got buried behind the walls when the hotel was being built. According to his gloved hand that supposedly sticks out of the wall in the closets behind the balcony in the gold room. Legend has it that a lone man roams the 8th floor where the elevator is said to stop frequently, even though no one has pushed the button to the 8th floor. And both voices are heard in the ballrooms even though no one is there. And staying at this hotel, they try to urge you not to book room 441 because apparently that is the most haunted room in the hotel currently. There are other rooms that were far more haunted, room 666 and room 209, except for those rooms have been mysteriously wiped away. So they have been blocked off, walls covering them. You can't even find the rooms. Well, I mean, you know where it's located. It's in between 665 and 667, but the 666 room and the 209 room were so terrifying. So something must have been awful that happened in these rooms that they made it so the rooms don't exist anymore. The scariest permanent guest is that of a little boy who was staying in the hotel with his mother and I believe another brother. And the mother was so afraid of getting deported that she had a nervous breakdown and ended up throwing Carol and his brother from this 12-story balcony. Hotel employees that have visited the 12th floor have said to have the feeling of being chased by someone and are terrified to ever step foot on this floor. The next hotel we're going to talk about is the Jekyll Island Club Resort on Jekyll Island in Georgia. Over the years, the Jekyll Island Club has seen many families come and go since 1886. There have been 7 reported ghosts that have been known to haunt the resort. They range from a ghostly bellman who delivers bridegrooms their press suits to the ghost of a former president who walks the veranda at sunset. A club member who departed from this world under mysterious circumstances is said to haunt his room and is seen in the early morning hours sipping coffee and reading a morning newspaper. Eddie Gould and his grandmother, Hester Schrady. Eddie died tragically during a hunting accident at the Jekyll Island Club. He loved coming to Jekyll Island and staying with his grandparents who owned the cottage next door. It is said that his old room will mysteriously open at dusk and the faint smell of roses linger in the air, the favorite scent of Eddie and his grandmother. The next one we're going to talk about is the beautiful Emily Morgan Hotel in San Antonio, Texas. This wasn't always a hotel. The 1924 building first housed a hospital and doctor's offices. And this building is near the site of the deadly Battle of the Alamo. It's believed that this history is the reason for the mysterious occurrences that happen throughout the hotel. Some guests have even reported seeing a woman in white wander the halls. Some people have witnessed a phone ringing in the middle of the night, and when picked up, no one is on the other end. A room attendant will clean a room, and after emerging from the bathroom will find the pillows from the bed were tossed to the ground. The sales manager spending the night returned to her room after dinner to find the bathtub had been filled with blue water. Other employees have noticed orbs or seen rooms where the doors will open and shut by themselves, have heard strange noises, and just had overall strange experiences in this hotel. The last hotel we're going to talk about is one that I'm sure most people have heard about. It is the Hotel Cecil, or Stay on Main, in Los Angeles, California. The first documented suicide at the Cecil occurred on the evening of January 22nd, 1927, when Percy Orman Cook shot himself in the head while inside his hotel room after failing to reconcile with his wife and child. The next reported death occurred in 1931 when a guest, W.K. Norton, died in his room after taking poison capsules. In addition to suicides, the Cecil's history includes other violence and disturbing happenings. It also became a notorious rendezvous spot for adulterous couples, drug activity, and a common ground for sex workers. In 1964, a retired telemarketer named Pigeon Goldie Osgood, who had been a well-known and well-liked long-term resident of the hotel, was found dead in her room. She had been raped, stabbed, beaten, and her room ransacked. Murder has remained unsolved. In the 1980s, the hotel may have been the residence of serial killer Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker. Ramirez was a regular presence on the Skid Row area of Los Angeles, and according to the hotel clerk who claims to have spoken to him, Ramirez is rumored to have stayed at the Cecil for a few weeks. Another serial killer, Australian Jack Underweger, stayed at the Cecil in 1991, possibly because he sought to copy Ramirez's crimes. While there, he strangled and killed at least 3 sex workers, for which he was convicted in Austria. In 2013, the Cecil, now named Stay on Main, became the focus of renewed attention when surveillance footage of a young Canadian student, Eliza Lamb, behaving erratically in the hotel's elevator went viral. The video depicts Lamb repeatedly pressing the elevator's buttons, walking in and out of the elevator, and possibly attempting to hide from somebody. Her naked body was discovered in a water supply cistern on the top of the hotel roof. How she got in the water tower on the top of this roof is still a mystery to this day. It's such a sad story. I feel bad for her. I know a lot of stories claim that she had some mental issues, and she might have been suffering from some type of mental ailment. It's still such a sad, sad story. That is our video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed my list of the most haunted hotels in America. These are, again, the hotels that I thought were the most interesting. I know there are far more haunted hotels that are far more famous than some of these that I have listed here, but these are the ones that I thought were interesting. So I hope you guys enjoyed listening to these stories. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and remember to hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already, as well as the notification bell next to it to be notified of all of my upcoming videos. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.